I thought that the best way to introduce you to my studio practice is to show you what I've been up to and to talk a little bit about it. This is a collaborative project that artists have been doing for USPS Art Project, which is an initiative that was put together by Christina Massey. This is a collage that I've been working on in collaboration with an artist on the East Coast named Ron Jansen. He mailed me through the US Postal Service a painting. You can see the blue sections there that I'm handling there. And I added them to a collage on paper of my drawings. I was doing botanical drawings with graphite and ink and then hand sewing them. So here I'm integrating all these pieces together in a collage on paper. I really enjoyed working with different attributes of other artists' contributions. And here I'm adding color to the collage because I want to pop out the linear elements. I typically love to work with gouache because of the thinness and lightness of the color quality. So that's what I'm doing there. I tend to work with very fine brushes to emphasize specific sections. This piece is pretty much done at this point. So this is a piece that I've been working on called Persephone. It's a part of a series of painted assemblages on paper. What you can see here is my work table. I typically have lots of pictures that I cut out from magazines that I use as sort of inspiration. A lot of aquatic and botanical elements, pictures from fashion. I am using traditional designer's gouache because I like the thinness and lightness of this particular paint. You can see the colors are very vibrant. I like to start with thin layers of color, painting in a lyrical pattern. I don't really plan out that much my designs. It just sort of flows for me. As I paint, I add, and it's very stream of consciousness for me. It just kind of grows in its own organic way. Here's another section later on in the painting development. You can see that I've done some drawn elements there that I fill in with small detail brushes. I'm very attracted to warm colors. I really like greens and reds, complementary colors in particular because of the way that they activate the eye. And it just really is stimulating for me to work that way. I like to just sort of take my time and just get into the flow in a sort of quiet, meditative state as I work. And you'll see that I'm going to be adding a number of layers on top of these painted elements. Here I'm in my kitchen, and I'm in my kitchen because I'm going to be burning the painting that I just did. A few important points if you are going to do burning with candle. Make sure that your paper is very thick. I'm using here Bristol board, which is an acid-free paper. It's very thick and heavy, and it prevents the paper from flaming up and basically becoming a fireball. So you can see that I'm sort of just gently tracing the candle flame along the surface of the painting. I'm letting the candle's flame rise very gently so that the flame kind of looks like breath rising in the work. And I'm angling the paper so that it does that. It's a little bit of a kind of fumbling. You can see that it's early in the morning. There's my coffee maker there. I do my artwork before my day job. So a lot of what I do, I have to divide up into sections as I work, but it does work for me. Mornings are the best time for me to make my artwork because I'm the most focused. And I think for me, the candle smoke is kind of like a pushing back of the painting, and then I often erase the candle smoke and pull, kind of paint back into it, and you're going to see with the final piece how it both pushes and pulls. I'll always kind of step back, look at what I'm doing, and make sure that I'm not overdoing it. Because sort of less is more. Once you burn it, you can't unburn it, you can erase it. It's kind of behaves sort of like charcoal in some ways. I fix it when I'm done with basically workable fixative. I use the Sennelier fixative to fix it, and it fixes just like charcoal or graphite. So that, because without fixative it will smear and it's very delicate. So that just gives you a sense of that process. Here I am working on a large piece called She, and it is an installation that is in progress. So what you're going to see here is a lot of works in progress. I'm working with drafting film, and I am drawing on it with colored pencil. The process is a bit painstaking because I have to draw on both sides of the drafting film. I don't plan out the drawings in advance. They are sort of drawn from my sort of just how I'm feeling about things or how I intuitively want to draw energy. This project is very much about the power of female energy, about healing. It is, in many ways, when I think about my artwork, it's very much a magical practice for me, which reveals the sacred in myself. So the work is revelatory in that way. It develops over time, and these shapes that I'm drawing are very intuitive, and there is a sort of deeply satisfying way in which drawing just is very soothing, the process. As you can see, so this piece here is in my room, and it's probably about maybe 14 feet across at this point and about 8 feet high and maybe 6 feet deep. They are hanging modules of drafting film that have been colored and suspended from the ceiling, and here I am working on adding a section. As I draw, I constantly have to stand back and look at where I am with the work and think about it and sort of say, okay, how is this going to fit into the larger context? I tend to temporarily suspend things with monofilament wire and binder clips and kind of look at sort of how does this fit, but I can't really tell until I look at it and kind of stand back, as you're going to see that I'll be doing that here. I think one of the humorous things is that my room is not that large, and I know that many artists, of course, you know, we all work within the confines of what we have. So I'm typically sort of navigating around the artwork. This is an example of me cutting into the drafting film, and a lot of the cutting that I do is also free form. I'm just sort of flowing with it. I tend to like to do cutouts, and in this case I felt like I wanted to do sections to test them and see how would they look in the context of the larger work. I love working with duraline because it is a lightweight material that, while very thin, is also very strong. It cuts easily and it allows me to work very fluidly. I consider the X-Acto blade cutting very much like drawing. And these installation works for me are very much like drawing into space. I've always loved drawing, and drawing has been sort of my go-to sort of practice since I was a child. Doing these installations with colored pencil allows me to draw just in a very larger, expansive way. This is something I often go through when I do these types of installations. I don't really have a premeditated sense of where I'm going to put something. It's more of a feel. And I'm sort of looking around because I need to find a clip that I can hang it from. At this point, so I'm a big fan of double-sided tape, and you know, when in doubt, just tape it to the door, I guess, which is what I end up doing because I wanted to stretch this piece across so it would have more of a feeling of breadth in the work. A lot of times I don't make decisions in a permanent way. I will make decisions sort of gradually in terms of how I want something to work. So I will use paper clips to temporarily fasten things until I make final decisions. The intent here is that it feels like flight. It feels like the spirit lifting. It is very much about my spirit lifting. And for me, that is how art becomes a magical practice.